Andrea, I'm so glad to have you back. I had so much fun talking to you in a previous video, and if you want to see that, go onto my YouTube page. You can search my YouTube page under AZ Lady Z, and you could see the interview I did with Andrea earlier. And while you're there, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell so you always get notified when new videos get popped up on there. And also make sure you check out the description below or above this video, because we have links in there so we can connect online, and I'd love to have you a part of our online community. So make sure you check that out. So Andrea, I wanted to come back and talk to you about more about Young Living stuff and some of the cool things that you can that Young Living offers. And one of those cool things is I wanted to find out, are you participating in the Young Living opportunity? And if you are, why?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, great. So what was some of the things that interested you about the opportunity?
Sure. Well, I early on in my journey, so I got my starter kit from Young Living and have been using their products for about a little over 3 years now. And pretty early on, I remember reading about it or seeing something about it and asked, not my mom was the one who signed me up with Young Living and gave me my kit and stuff like that for our wedding, actually, a couple years ago. But I remember asking another friend from one of the Facebook groups, one of our Young Living member groups, about it because I saw her post something about it. And I said, well, I like teaching stuff. Can I teach a class? Like, I like teaching people about things, and these things have been really helpful for me. And it was a couple months after I got my kit. And like, I've heard about this, like, can I put the two together, and like teach some people some things about oils and what they've done for me, and then also, like get involved with the opportunity part. And so, like, how does that work? And so she explained a lot more about it for me. And it's been a really cool journey. There's definitely been times when I'm busier since I'm a teacher, that I've had to take a break, from being able to share more. And so there's been ebbs and flows in that journey, but yeah, I'm really enjoying the experience and being able to share things that help me, right? Like, people need hope. That's something I've discovered so much in the past, even just the past 6 months with all the crazy things in our world happening. People need to see that there's hope and there are other options than what they're trying. Because for me, with some of the issues I was dealing with, I felt super stuck. And I felt like there has to be a better way than this, right? Like, there has to be a different way that works, that, I believe that God designed our bodies to work a certain way, and it just made so much more sense once I started to learn more about, like Young Living and their values and some of the Seed to Seal, which I don't know if you probably talk on your YouTube channel about that too, but some of those things, and it just made so much sense to me. I was like, I think like more people need to hear about this and need that hope, right? So that's kind of what fueled me and still fuels me, that hope that there are other options and that I can help people experience some of that relief or healing or feeling better or just enjoying, something more natural.
Oh, I love exactly what you said, because I agree with you 100%. I love the opportunity side for multiple reasons, especially while we're recording it. It's like I don't know if you'd call this in the middle of the corona epidemic, but it's
When
in
is
the
it
middle.
ending? I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know where we're at. But in the corona epidemic, and people would go to bed with a job and then wake up without a job.
Yep.
And businesses have been shut down for a very, very long time. A lot of companies are struggling with keeping their doors open. Places are only allowed to be at half capacity. I even talked to my doctor for a well check, and even they are hurting because they weren't allowed to do any surgeries and stuff like that unless it was corona related. And so everyone across the board, children aren't going to school. So like, there's a whole bunch of things that people are dealing with. And hope is such a great way to think about this opportunity, because I think it's always important to have multiple streams of income.
Me
That
too.
way, if like this happened, where you went to bed with a job and then you woke up and found out there was no job to go to, because in my state it was happening like that at times.
Here too.
They got some shutdown notices that day, like you're shut down, and then what do you do with that? I don't know. And then with all the inundated people trying to get unemployment, it was just been a disaster, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if the Young Living opportunity is just a great way to have a little bit of peace of mind, especially when you're going through the ebbs and flows. And like you said about that, there have been times in my life where I've had to put this on the back burner because there have been things in my life that come up that need my attention. But the cool thing about this opportunity is just because I wasn't front and center didn't mean I wasn't having money coming in. So
Mm-hmm.
that was really cool about this business. Even when I had to step back, I was still getting a paycheck every month.
Well, and like even I know some, I have a member who has been really excited about just being able to get her the things she needs for free or for cheaper, right? She's not necessarily like in her perspective, she's not necessarily wanting to run really hard with it or anything. You know, she doesn't have really high goals for that, but she just wants to be able to get the things she needs for free or
And
for
there's nothing
cheaper,
wrong with
right?
that.
Oh,
That's
totally.
yeah.
And I'm
Take it
meeting
for
her
free.
exactly where she's at and helping her in that process, right? But I feel like it's one of those opportunities that there is somewhere for everyone. Is room for the people who want to hit the ground running and just run with it, right? And then there's people who are like, well, I want to be able to get my essential rewards order for free, right? And so there's somewhere to meet everybody, and that I love that because it's not like there's a big commitment aside from your typical, you know, your starter kit and your essential rewards, right?
Right.
There's not a big commitment.
No.
You know, like if you have a brick and mortar, you know, type of business, like there's so much front loading and front cost involved. I mean, I'm a teacher. I in the past couple years have been teaching in the public school system, and now this year I'm teaching for some homeschool groups and homeschool co-ops because I'm a music teacher. So I'm basically being an independent contractor and making my own job. I'm freelancing for them and then
Cool.
doing music lessons out of my home, doing music lessons for another business once a week. So I'm making my own job, right? But it's wonderful to have that peace of mind and having those multiple income streams so that I can be flexible, right? And so that I can move and flow with, you know, with whatever happens, right?
Yeah, because you never know. Like, for instance, my uncle, he passed away at 39 from cancer, and we were only 11 years apart. Me and him were more like brother and sister than anything.
Sure,
Um, and there were times he wasn't able to work with his cancer.
sure.
So did the bill stop coming for him? No, they still came. And it put a real hardship on him. And so we never know when that part of our life could happen. We don't know if there's going to be all this on this big change. We might still have a job, but this big change comes and it could financially destroy us. We just never know. So having that extra money come in can help mitigate some of that. And then on top of it, at the bare minimum, like your member, at the bare minimum, she gets all her products that she wants for free. And
Right.
I think that's a huge draw for a lot of people. And for me, what I love about Young Living is I feel like it's a win-win-win-win-win scenario. So let's say I want to do the business, right? Now, the way it's structured is you have to help people in order to get a paycheck. So I have to put
By helping
people
people
somewhere,
succeed.
right? So even if my friend doesn't want to do the business, I still got to put someone under her, right? So by default, she gets a paycheck, right? I mean, I think that's so cool.
I
So
love how this is a business where you succeed by helping other people succeed.
yes,
It's not a competition business
oh,
because like it's not like there's only two people that can be at that level in the company or something. And so you're like fighting a good friend, a coworker for a position that you're both applying for a new job or something. Like that's not how it works.
there
You
is
win because
enough
they're
room for
winning.
everyone at the table. Anyone who wants it can have it. It's
And it's
just what
awesome.
effort you're going to put into it. And if you decide to put some effort, awesome, you're going to go great. It only takes about 10 10 people maybe under you to start getting your orders for free. I mean, that's not very many people.
Give or take, yeah.
You and your family, boom, you got your orders for free. And then them and their friends and family, boom, they got their orders for free. I mean, it's that simple, really that simple. I love that. And then you were talking about the flexibility side.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Still a job. I was going to say it's still a job. You know, it still takes effort and it still takes work. So like it's not like it's like, oh, there's free money or something. Like,
Right.
it's not how it works. There's still whether you're going to teach a class or meet for coffee and have a one-on-one with somebody to share, what's working for you or, whatever. I know some people who post on social media a lot, and that's how they connect with people, even if they don't know them in person, like they connect with people on various social media platforms. So it still takes time and it still takes effort and work, but it's just a different, you can do it on your time. It's flexible. You can do it late at night or early in the morning or on your lunch break or, it's just so flexible that I really like that.
Yeah. You get what you put into it. Totally. Yeah. But there have been people that have benefited because I have to put people somewhere. So it definitely benefits them, even if they weren't even in the business. But if you want to do well in it, yes, there is effort on your part. And I'm glad you brought that up because I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I'm just going to sign up for Young Living and boom, I got a paycheck. I mean, that's not the real world. It doesn't happen that way. Right? But if you put in some effort whenever you can, and the easiest way, and I don't feel salesy. So let me ask you, do you feel salesy in this whole thing?
No, I mean, at the beginning, I definitely needed to figure out like, okay, how does this work? So for a little while, I definitely felt like, oh, this feels a little salesy to me. But as I've like learned more about it and learned about other ways I can share the experiences that I'm having. Cause for me, it's all about experiences. Mm-hmm. I'm just sharing like, okay, well, this really awesome thing just happened. Or like, we had this issue and we just cleared it up in 2 days. Or, like whatever it is, whatever the experience is, I feel like I'm really just sharing my life. I'm not like trying to sell anybody something. I'm just saying, hey, like, this is what I'm doing. It's working great for us. If that's something you're interested in, cool. If not, no big deal. Like, it's not like you have to do what I'm doing. I'm not expecting you to. But given, like, for example, if somebody comes to me telling me like, or, I see somebody at church and that they're saying that they haven't been sleeping well, or their kid hasn't been sleeping well, or whatever it is, right? Like, I'm like, hey, well, I feel like I'd be a bad friend for not telling you what I had an experience with last year or whenever, right? Like, I just feel like I'd be a bad friend if I kept good things to myself. So I feel like that's more the way I feel like I'm doing, at least as far as I'm coming from it, is it doesn't feel like I'm selling something. It feels like I'm just sharing things in my life that are going well. And why would I want to withhold good things from my friends?
You hit the nail on the head with at least how I feel about the whole thing. Because we recommend stuff all the time. Oh my gosh, this restaurant, you got to try. Oh, this handbag I got. You got to try my hair salon. The lady is phenomenal. I mean, it's just natural. Why? Because we want our friends to experience the same good stuff we experience. And then as you talk to your friends, they're going to share things with you, right? And I don't think you would be a good friend if you held back an answer to the problem they've been looking for. I just don't think you would be. If they say no, they say no. But at least you told them. Let them make the choice. Don't make the choice for them. Let them choose. And then if it's not going well, perhaps down the road, they'll be like, hey, you know that thing you were telling me about? Do you think I could try that? It's like.
Yeah. Well, that's happened to me before where, I had a friend who was hearing my story about jaw issues, and she was a coworker from a couple of years ago, and she saw something I posted about how I've been doing so well lately and how blessed I feel to have these different options of things to try. And she messaged me a couple months ago and was like, hey, I really could use some guidance or at least some ideas in this area. Like, what have you been doing that's working so well for you? Because I've just started experiencing this in the past year. And I just shared, like, here's what I've done. Obviously, not everybody's exactly the same, like we were talking about before. Like, my husband doesn't love digize, but loves fennel and ginger, same sort of deal. Like the same exact stuff that I do isn't necessarily going to help her
Right.
exactly, but here's what I've done. You can try that. If that doesn't work, I do have some other ideas you could try, and just see what works. And if she wants to do that, awesome. And if she didn't, that's fine too. But she decided she wanted to, and she's actually been doing a lot better. She's in my area, so she actually is seeing my chiropractor now too, as well as trying some different Young Living products. So it's been really cool to see her doing so much better. But I would have felt like a bad friend for not sharing the whole story, right? If I had just told her about, maybe just told her about my chiropractor and not about the Young Living, or the other way around, like, hey, I know chiropractic's super expensive, so I'm just assuming you don't want to do that. It's like, no, like sometimes you really need to invest in something for you to get to a place where you can be healthy or be well or be at sort of that place you want to be, right? And so investing on the front end, like you were talking about before, is really important. And so anyway, that's maybe more than I needed to say.
No, it's perfect, because that's part of my protocol with trying to conceive. If you want to be a part of that group, it's on my YouTube my YouTube channel, AZ Lady Z.
Cool.
But going to a chiropractor is part of my protocol. It's something that helped me.
Yeah.
And I can fast 2 times.
Mine's a very specialized type of chiropractic too. So I was just explaining to her, like, here's why I went to this one instead of, because I tried some other things before and it didn't help me. So, like I told her, okay, here's why I chose this specific type of chiropractic and the specific technique he does, and take it or leave it. That's up to you. But here's how I made my decisions, why I did what I did, and where I am now versus where I was before. It's just my story, right? And so people can choose to take or leave anything that you share with them. But I feel like it's important to share the whole story.
I agree.
Because if you're not, then I feel like you're leaving out a good thing if you just share part of a story.
Right, totally. So basically, I feel the same way. Like, when I don't look at it as sales, I just look at it as education, sharing what I've done in my life. I like to post my wellness box opening, and I specifically tell people, why am I getting this? Because I'm trying to achieve this, or that. Any kind of DIYs, like I found some amazing, cheap, easy DIYs that have saved me a ton of money, with my oils. And so I share that, and then people are like, oh, I need that. Oh, I need that. Oh, I need that. And then pretty soon you get this check and your oils are for free, or it exceeds that, and you start being able to pay off debt, have a savings, go on vacation, replace an income, whatever. The sky's the limit. It's up to you, the effort you want to put into it, how much you want to share. And there's different ways of sharing. So not everyone's comfortable. I have a background in radio broadcasting, so not everyone's comfortable doing a Facebook Live, but there's other ways to do sharing besides just doing a YouTube, a Facebook Live. I mean, whatever your talent is, that's where you share in. At least I think so.
Yeah, I mean, and I started by teaching classes in person, and then for a little while, people weren't coming to my classes. Most of the people I was connecting with were too busy or had little kids and couldn't come at that time of day, and because I was a teacher and super busy myself, it just wasn't the most realistic option for me. So then I ended up, going a different route and doing more online type stuff, and it's been a really good fit. For me, so like there's all sorts of ways that you can go about that, and I haven't really gone the route of doing like a Zoom class or anything online. It's more been just one-on-one conversations, which has fit better in my schedule since I started doing that, and it tends to fit in other people's schedules as well. And I have a few different members from other countries now as a result. I had a lady from Canada who I've been getting to know recently. So that's really cool,
That is so cool.
I would have not been able to do that if I was just doing in-person classes. So I'm trying to branch out and try some new things too, because I feel like I'm personally growing as a result. And that's been one of the coolest things about the Young Living opportunity is some of the professional development and personal development that I feel like I've been able to do as a result of pursuing this. I have a mentor who has been teaching some personal development type things with the Enneagram. And so that's been really cool. And I wouldn't have met her even if I wasn't doing the Young Living business and pursuing some of those things. So it's just been really cool to connect with other people, make friendships. I feel like that's the coolest part about it, is not just building relationships with other people in Young Living already, but connecting with people in other countries or making new friends. Like, I used to not be as good at making friends. And I think that's another thing that I've really grown in since I started pursuing the Young Living opportunity, is learning how to connect with people and learning how to make friends. And that's totally unrelated to Young Living, but it's been such a blessing in my life as a result. So
it's a good thing that comes along with it.
yes.
I've
Yeah.
met some amazing people I would never have met but because the Young Living kind of forced me out of my little circle, out of my
Yeah.
zone. Um, for one, doing in-person classes, I've made friends that way.
Sure.
So just connecting with people online, I made friends that way. Connecting with other Young Living members, I've made friends that way. And it's just been such a blessing, just the relationship part, the
Yes.
personal development. I totally agree with you. You're going to grow as a person doing this business. If you want to do this business, you will be growing as a person and getting new skill sets. You're going to become, and I think you're going to become a better person, a better friend, because you're going to be looking out for this number in my podcast world. If you went to my podcast, my tagline was, instead of thinking about number one, just yourself, think about number two, somebody else, because eventually number two will look out for you. So
Yeah.
when you're looking out for number two, somebody else, you become a better person. People want to be around you. It's a magnetic pull. My best friend just died from cancer when I'm recording this, and she was that type of person. And I'm just wondering, because as I've been on this Young Living journey, I've been finding more and more people like my best friend, who are those that make you feel special, that go and do things for you just because they care about you. And I just wonder if I'm just drawing those people in now because I've been changing as a person. So
I think so. I think that's how, I think that's kind of how it works. Like, if you have this mindset of, oh, well, I'm not a very good friend, or, people don't want to be my friend, or people don't want to be hanging out with me or whatever, then yeah, you're not going to have very many friends, because it's just, it's when you walk into a room or when you hang out, even on this Zoom, like I'm drawn to talking with you, and I've not met you very long even, like, but I'm just drawn to your energy and drawn to getting to know you. And that's really cool. And I feel like it's a limiting belief, or maybe a limiting mindset I had before about some of that. Like, oh, I'm lonely. Oh, I don't have people to hang out with. It's like, well, then go do something about it. Like, go connect with people. Obviously there's an energy that takes, that you sometimes need to take a break from that too, depending on who you are and how you're made, right? But there is that concept of believing that you are already that, and it starts happening even if it hasn't happened yet. There's a Dr. Carolyn Leaf. I don't know if you know who she is, but she talks a lot about mindset and the power of our minds. And so you'd probably like her. She's written a few books and stuff like that. So you should maybe go check her out. But
well, I believe in the Bible, and the Bible talks a lot about mindset.
Yes.
It says, you can transform by the renewing of your mind.
Yes.
As a man thinketh, so is he. So as you think of something, that's what you become. But you can transform from what you are to what you want to become by your mindset. And so even God himself puts in his Bible, hey, you got to think about how you're preaching to your own head. Like,
yeah.
Change the thoughts that are going into your mind, because what goes in comes out. So garbage in, garbage out. So we don't want garbage in, and we don't want garbage out. So transform and be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's what we're talking about. Well, we talked about the transformation. We talked about some friendships that you can develop along the way. We talked about getting your products for free. We talked about it's a win-win-win scenario. Is there any reason you think, Andrea, people shouldn't join the Young Living opportunity?
Any reason they shouldn't?
Right.
If you're not willing to grow, then I guess maybe you shouldn't. But other than that, like, I don't really see a whole reason not to. Right. Even if it wasn't there wasn't a paycheck, I would still be sharing these things with
I
people.
would too.
You know, just like you share a book you're reading, or like you said before, the hair salon, like I would still be sharing. So it's just an added bonus, right?
Yeah, totally added bonus. Hey, I want to thank you for your time today. You've been great talking to you. Talking about friendships. I just developed one, guys. You saw it here on Zoom. So I just want to thank you again, giving me your time. I appreciate your insights and what you think about, you know, all the things we've talked about. Remember, you can check out in the description above or below. We would like to connect with you in our community groups. So make sure you check that out, the link below. You can always find me at AZLadyZ on YouTube or info on oils.com. Well, thank you guys so much. I'll see you later. Have a great day.